I would hate to be somebody on a skateboard that was doing something spectacular.
Oh,
and have the fallacy of the GoPro.
Yeah.
Because it does do things. These are really nice, clean treats. They're called Charlie Bears. That bag is like $5.99. Okay, so.
Oh, okay, 3.
But it's a crunchy treat.
Okay.
Sometimes you want a crunchy treat. Sometimes you want a soft treat.
Yeah.
Often, though, here in the beginning, you're going to want a Cheerio. Good.
Yeah,
So
Cheerios are easy.
Cheerios are so easy, inexpensive, fun. Oh, did you see this? What's in here? Oh, what's in there, huh? That's the snuffle mat. That's absolutely. You're not so much into snuffle mats, are you? You're not so much into them. All right, but I am going to start to pick things up while we have a moment here. Yeah, what do you think is this? Oh, what's in there? Oh, what's in there? So before you can get your dog to work with you, you have to be aware of focus.
Yeah.
And you have to be aware of their state. So focus is, there's 4 like categories to focus. One's enthusiasm, one's confidence, one's clarity, and one is, hello, what did I do? One is control.
Yeah.
Meaning like your control of the dog's impulse control, all of those things. Enthusiasm, how interesting are you being? You know, are you boring?
Yeah.
Humans are really boring.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out, well, how can I be more interesting if I want to get some things done with the dog? So that's sort of what we're going to work on. Now, a state is a physical, mental, or emotional condition that the dog is in. So you want the dog in a pretty even-keeled state, and then you have a chance to get some focus.
Yeah.
Okay? So we have this is a lot of information. So sometimes I use notes because it's a lot of information. So I was going to go through enthusiasm. So why wouldn't a dog focus? Because it had lack of enthusiasm. So that would look like, this is no fun. This is, the dog's a little introverted. There's a low activity level, that would be a bulldog. There's stress. And dogs either stress up or they stress down. Dogs that stress up get hyper, anxious, jumping, barking. Dogs that stress down, they kind of shut down. You tell them to do something which you know they know how to do. They just don't, they just shut down. They just don't do it. There's pressure. So if you're going to show this dog or do confirmation or do a sport like agility or rally or something like this, there's a pressure going into that. The pressure from you and your anxiety on being judged, you know, or doing something for the first time, and different dogs around, people around, all those things. So the more you can introduce to your dog, the more you're not going to have that. And then there's just environmental. So dog parks, very, very stressful. And the dog can just be overwhelmed. It's like, just like you can be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like Disneyland. Oh, well, I should be really happy, but, you know, I kind of want to cry right now.
Yeah.
Okay? So lack of control is impulse control. One of the biggest things that most pet parents want is the dog to have impulse control. I don't want it darting out the front door. I don't want it jumping. I don't want it barking. every time I put it in the car and then another car pulls up, things like that. So they want, often some dogs have a high natural activity level. That would be the Malinois. That would be a German Shepherd. That would be any sort of working dog along those lines. There's a high interest environment. Okay, you've just taken your dog to this park, and there's all these smells, and there's squirrels, and there's little bunny rabbits, and oh my God, I am out of control, you know? So you have to kind of take into account what's the environment, you know? Why is my dog acting like this? Because, you know?
Right.
There's a million things. So, the other thing with lack of control is the lack of training. Everybody doesn't, you know, they only really care about a certain level, or it just becomes, really training is about me teaching you to change a few of your Homo sapien habits that are not canine friendly.
Yeah.
Don't make a better dog. It's not that they're unfriendly, they just don't make a better dog. Then there's being stressed, or you know, the dog zooming all over the place. And then there's reactivity. So, you know, dog is under socialized, it's probably going to be a reactive dog. Dogs can also have a very reactive little dog. And I think he's mental. I've had him on Prozac and on Zoloft and up and down. Now I just keep him on melatonin. He's still reactive, but I kind of live with it and I manage it. And that's basically what you do with the dog. You train the dog you have, not the dog you want. This was not the dog I wanted.
Yeah.
But I'm training the dog I have, and I'm managing the behaviors. So you can't go over if the dog's sitting on Sherry's lap. Remember, he's 5 pounds. I can't go over and pick him up off of her lap. He'll bite you in a second.
Yeah.
He goes ballistic. That just is a high trigger for him. Very high trigger. So I never do that. If I want the dog down, I either throw a little treat to get him off of the couch, something more interesting, or I have Sherry, you know, stand up so the dog gets off of her lap. It's the only way to do it. So a lack of clarity is when they're not sure what you want.
Yeah.
Okay, communication. So the training's confusing. You know, and sometimes that comes from lack of experience, lack of mechanical skills, any number of things like that. Or there's pressure.
Yeah.
So we have I put down here the state, the physical, mental, or emotional condition of the dog is called the state of the dog, and the state is always fluid and it's always changing. And your focus is, I just told you all the situations in which a dog might not be focused, but here are the 4 areas: enthusiasm, control, confidence, and clarity. When a dog is focused, that means there's a mutual engagement between you and the dog. You both are doing the same task at the same time. So have you ever had a dog that was doing something else when you were wanting to do something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, unfocused. So
Yeah.
for 9 times out of 10, well, I won't say 9 times out of 10, but often it's environmental.
Yeah, you know, at home I've got my other dog, like I told you, so when I'm training Murphy, I have to bring him outside or somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Because my other dog will be right up there, like, give me treats, and then he won't pay attention, you know?
Right. Well, yeah, when I train my dogs, they train separately. And then once I get a behavior pretty solid, then I might add a distraction. And then I might add, and the distraction might be a carrot. And then the second distraction might be something a little higher value, a toy. And then the third distraction would be the hamburger, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so you gradually, and then finally, you know, you can bring, once you've trained both dogs to have impulse control, and mat work does that. That's a very nice thing about it, is then you can put one dog there, you have your line training, you know, scenario, and off you go. So we have a couple of things that we do to engage the dog so that you two get on the same page. So one thing I was going to tell you, attention is when the dog's looking at you. Focus is a physical and emotional and mental state. It's not looking at you. Like I had search dogs. So my search dogs were very focused on the task at hand. They were not looking at me. He was out 100 yards away from me, you know,
Right.
looking for someone else. So,
Right.
so focus doesn't mean looking at you. Attention means looking at you. So what I had you do is I had you take, this is called rapid fire treats. And this is like priming the pump, okay? And I want them to know the treats are at hand. So I take the treats out and I'm going to count out 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
I'm very interested.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have you pick a word that you're going to use to tell the dog that you did that right. And that's really important. And I'll tell you why. What day is it?
Thursday.
What day is it?
Thursday.
What day is it?
Repeat Thursday.
So,
Yeah.
if I had acknowledged you when you told me the first Thursday, you wouldn't have thought, what's this crazy old lady doing? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, if you would have said Thursday, I would have said, what day is it? And you would have gone, it's May 12th.
Yeah.
You know, and I go, yes, it's May 12th. Okay? So I have you pick a word that's going to fall out of your mouth that is not okay. Okay? Because okay comes out all the time. I like to use good or yes.
Yes. I've been using good or yes with him
Okay.
already.
All
Yeah.
right, perfect. So those are perfect words to be using. So every time good or yes comes out of your mouth, you have made a contract with this dog that there will be a treat following. That is a reward marker word.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it means that is the bridge between the behavior and then getting the treat. That's, you did the behavior, you get the treat. So we're going to do rapid fire treats. So it doesn't matter what they're doing, if they're looking at you or not. We're priming the pump. So this is going to be Murphy. Murphy. Now he's like, I paid attention to you. Now I'm not. Yeah. Yes. Yes. We're going to try to get this in as fast as we can. Yes. 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 Yes.
So you're teaching him with the yes word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm teaching both of you.
Yeah.
Getting you used to using the
Right.
word. Good. That's so good. Get it. So, when you throw the treat away from you, that's called a reset cookie.
Okay. Yeah.
And get it is what you use. Or, oftentimes, I use cookie scatter, and I throw 2 or 3 out.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, those are just the terms. So, I want you, do you have treats?
Yep.
Are there treats in there?
Yep.
What do you got in there? Did I already have them in there?
Yeah.
Or,
Got a little-
so, yeah, so I want you to count out 10, and it doesn't matter, he doesn't have to be looking at you, you have to say the word and then deliver the treat.
Okay. Murphy, come.
So count your treats out so he knows that you're
Sit.
doing something. No, you don't want to do
One.
that.
Oh, okay.
You don't want to do any of that. He doesn't have to do any performance aspect.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Yes first.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. 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 Yes.
And then toss a couple of treats out and go cookie scatter. Or
Cookie scatter. Go get them.
You didn't see it, so you have to, especially at this
Here.
age, you have to kind of like,
Cookie scatter.
there you go. All right, so what that's basically telling him is, you can go be a dog now.
Yeah, okay. And
Okay,
then go
finished.
relax.
Okay, so we have the beginning, counting out, the middle, where they're getting the reinforcement
Uh-huh.
for doing the right thing,
Uh-huh.
and then the end where, okay, go be a dog. Because
Yeah.
you want your training sessions to be short. You don't want really long training sessions. You definitely don't need them now. I mean, you're not doing anything where you have to work with your dog for 5 minutes, more or less 30.
Right.
I mean, 30 seconds to a minute, a couple of times a day, and your dog will be, like that. It's going to pick these up. It's like a little sponge right now, so it's going to pick it up. So it's important that you have your reinforcement word and you understand that that is what you are going to start to do is look for the good in your dog.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always have to have a treat. So say the dog is just laid down and it's just being really sweet. It's like, yes. And go over and just scratch it behind the ears and then go away.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, every time it sits. Oh, that's such a good boy.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to start to look for those things that the dog does. And then when it does something that you don't like that, you're going to totally ignore it. You're just going to get up and then you're going to ignore the dog.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes. Oh.